subscribe, hit the bell.
My name is Barry Allen, and I am the fastest man alive. To the outside world, I'm an ordinary forensic scientist. But secretly, with the help of my friends at Star Labs, I fight crime and find other metahumans like me. But when my daughter came back from the future to help, she changed the present. And now our world is more dangerous than ever. And I'm the only one fast enough to save it. I am the Flash.
What's going on, YouTube? We're back in the garage. So the first thing we need to do is mount our oil pan back in. Then we can put our motor mount bolts back on and our transmission bolts. So this is the bung that they send. It just has a washer and a rubber gasket in it, and it seals. So we drilled a 13/16 hole in our oil pan, and we drilled it 1 3/4 inches down from the top of the flange. So this is what that looks like. And the oil bung will thread through and then go on the other side with the nut, tighten it up, and secure it in place. And then from there, we'll put our brass fitting in. We'll use thread sealant on it, and then we'll slide this hose back over it and then tighten down this hose, and then that will be good to go. Then we put some black RTB on the flat surfaces of the oil pan, and try not to touch anything when we put it back in. It's been cleaned. It's been used brake cleaner to wipe it all off to make sure there was no contaminants and all that good stuff. Same thing underneath the engine. So we'll put black RTV, and I'll show you. You'll get to see me do that. I'm using Ultra Black. It's a higher oil resistant sealer. They say use gray, but I think the black is going to be better. So let's get this bung installed and start this reassembly process. All right, we got the oil bung in. It's a 1 1/4 inch size wrench, and I use the crusher wrench on the inside. I use this closed end on the outside just to hold it. It's good and secure. So now we'll put thread lock on the brass fitting, and we'll stick the brass fitting in there, and then the oil pan will be ready to get some RTV. So we have the thread sealant on the brass fitting, and we'll put it in here. Kind of hard to do with left hand since I'm right-handed, so let's switch. All right, we got the brass fitting in. Time to put the gray hose on per the instructions. Just like that. And we'll put the fitting on so that I'm sorry, I had to clean the camera off. So that we're able to get to it once it's back in, just in case we ever need to take it off. So we'll just rotate it like that. All right, first thing you want to do is go around the oil pickup, and it's one continuous bead. go around all the boat holes. All right, there you go. It's around all the boat holes. So the key now is to get it back up under here without touching anything. All right, let's go underneath. So the goal with the oil pan is to slide it forward through there and then slide it back and let it rest on these two mounts. So let me try to get that in there and go from there. All right, we got it in. We got to wait about an hour. Then we'll come down and torque it down. And hopefully we got a good seal, because that's what you want to see is the RTV squeezing out the side. So we didn't get too much on anything that we wasn't supposed to. So we'll know in about 24 hours when I put some oil in here whether or not we got a leak. So until then, deuces. All right, so we got our pan bolts in. We got our return hose in. We have our feeder hose in. This is a 15 millimeter. Grab the light so you can see. 15 millimeter. This in right here. We'll go to the turbo. We're putting our manifold on. You torque it down to 20 foot-pounds. We set our muffler in place. Next thing goes on is the wastegate, then the turbo. Then we can start putting the intercooler and running pipes. And we'll probably be finished either tomorrow or the day after, but I probably won't post a video or videos up until a day or so afterwards. So I'll get back to work, finish tightening these up. This is tedious work. Y'all don't need to see me do this. Until then, peace. What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy back again. So my GoPro was dead. So I finally got my battery charged, but I went ahead and pressed forward. So I'll show you what I've done so far. We got the turbo mounted with the V-Van clips. We have the exhaust mounted. We have the flex pipe mounted. We have the wastegate mounted. We also have the turn down mounted. So now we're gonna, we also down there, not sure if you can see that gray hose, but that's the oil drain line. This black hose right here is the oil feed line. It went into that first little oil plug in the engine. So we're gonna connect this to the middle one, which is right here. We're gonna cut this hose right here that goes to the, this hose right here that goes to your coolant. One of these hoses will go here. The other hose will go there, here and there. And then other than that, we can start bolting on the shroud that goes up here for the cold air intake and piping, and we'll be close to being finished. We're still waiting on our ECU to come back. It's at Custom Built Motorsports out in California. It got there yesterday, so hopefully they can tune it and get it back to us by Friday is my hope. But being the powers that be, I really don't think it's going to happen. I know you don't want to see me do a whole bunch of boats. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put you down. I'm going to bolt all this stuff up, and then I'll come back and show you exactly what I did. All right, bye. What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy Rich Nice back once again. So we finally finished. I didn't get a lot of videos because I couldn't hold the camera myself, and it was a little tedious. So there's a couple things that the kit doesn't explain, like your intercooler bolts to these two bolts right here underneath your lights. Let me get a light so you can see. So they bolt right there underneath your lights, but the instructions don't say that. It just says install your intercooler. Or you're like, well, where the heck are we supposed to install it? So I had to figure it out on my own. Big shout out to Kyle up at ZZ Performance. I sent him probably 50 emails, and he answered them all probably, within an hour of me sending them. He also sent me a couple videos on how he did his. And for the most part, it's just pretty simple bolt-on kit. You have your manifold, your wastegate right here, which you notice the top is open. So you're only going to use the bottom port. And I'll show you where that goes in a minute. You have your flex pipe, your muffler, your turbo. You have your coolant line that used to go to the hose, to your bottle. You have to cut it in half, take one piece, bring it down here. On this side, this is your oil feed line. And then this is the other part of your hose. Then you have your piping that comes down to your intercooler. If I get this to stay. But anyway, this wire right here comes around, goes behind your air box. It comes out. Down here, there's a T. See if I can get to it. There's a T right here. That T goes to your blow-off valve, and the other one goes to your evac valve, which is right here. Normally, on your stock Slingshot, you would have a hose, which is never find it when I need it. Anyway, here it is. You would have this hose going like this from here up to here. You notice once you install your kit, this hose right here will remain open, this port. That's the way it's designed. On this side, you have your boot, your pipe that goes down to your intercooler, your blow-off valve. You have to get rid of your factory connector that goes into your intake pipe. And you splice this one in right here. And then you get a new map sensor, which is right here. And that's pretty much it. It definitely helps if you have two people. I did it by myself, and I pretty much did it, the whole thing, in 2 days. And that's coming home after work, working a couple of 2 or 3 hours every night. The biggest key to this kit is preparation. If you know you're going to get a kit and you got one coming, go ahead by taking out your muffler, taking off your manifold, taking your oil pan off. For the oil pan, like I say, you're going to have to take both motor mounts out on both sides. You're going to have to take the 2 transmission bolts out. Then you're going to put the jack underneath the transmission, jack your engine up. But before that, you have to loosen up your overflow bottle so it can have freedom to move. And then it allows you to jack your engine all the way up. Once you get your engine up, you have to pry, like I mentioned in my other video, on oil pan, drop it, clean all the RTV off, and when you put it back in, make sure you don't touch anything because the RTV will get on everything. But for the most part, we're waiting on our ECU. It should be here tomorrow. Today is Friday, so it should be here sometime Saturday around noon-ish. Once we get it, we'll put it in. We'll hook the battery back up, and we'll get a first test start. So more to follow. Until then, like, subscribe, and hit the bell because we got another video coming up. That white box that's back there. It's another mod for the slingshot, so we're going to put it in probably tomorrow while we're waiting on the ECU to show up. Maybe after we do the ECU, give us something to do Sunday because I'll be out of town all next week. So until then, one love.
Subscribe, like, hit the bell.